Tonight, Iran vowing revenge after an attack this weekend at a military parade left at least 25 people dead and 60 more wounded. Iran says the U.S. and Israel are among others. They're all to blame. Also brewing, CIA Director Gina Haspel throws shade on North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un's real nuclear intentions. Former CIA station chief, Fox News contributor Daniel Hoffman is here to break it down. Good to see you tonight.
Good to see you, too.
I hardly know where to start because we have so much going on. Obviously, the U.S. is disavowing any connection with this mass shooting in Iran at the military parade. Here is what former ambassador, now security advisor, John Bolton had to say.
As I've said repeatedly, regime change in Iran is not the administration's policy. As Mike Pompeo just said, we've imposed very stringent sanctions on Iran. More are coming. And what we expect from Iran is massive changes in their behavior. And until that happens, we will continue to exert what the president has called maximum pressure. That's what we intend to do.
Okay, so how does this administration speak to the Iranian people and go past the Iranian regime? Is it possible?
Well, the Iranian regime is trying to deflect blame for everything that's wrong in Iran. And right now, their economy is in free fall. We're seeing hyperinflation. And they want to blame others, and they start with the United States as well as their Sunni enemies in the region, like the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia in particular. This attack that occurred in Ahvaz, which is on the border of Iraq and an area that has experienced other protests for water shortages and has been victimized by smuggling and other things, it was probably an inside job as well. I mean, these guys were wearing soldiers' uniforms. And so the Iranians want to deflect the blame for their own problems and blame others. It's a common tactic of theirs.
And Ambassador Bolton said today as well, with respect to Iran, that U.S. forces are not going to be leaving Syria anytime soon, as long as they feel like Iran's there. And he said not just actually Iran, but proxies, militias. He said U.S. forces are going to stay until they're completely out of Syria.
Right. I mean, the problem is that Iran doesn't do post-conflict reconstruction very well, because what they're doing is targeting Sunnis, innocent Sunni. And that's no way to bring about the reconciliation that really is required to eliminate the terrorist threat. With Iran involved, it carries on being a petri dish, growing these threats of extremists. And we need to be there in some form, not a lot of troops or an intelligence capability, but enough to protect our interests, for sure.
Well, and Russia also a player there, obviously, too. And there's now dispute over whether or not Russia may be selling big missile defense weaponry to Syria and potentially violating sanctions, U.S. sanctions and guidelines and that kind of thing as well.
I mean, the Russians are interested in the Middle East for a few reasons. They'd like to eliminate or reduce U.S. interest in the region, but they're also interested in oil sales, and that's potentially a conflict area with Iran, because Iran's oil sales have really decreased and Russia's are increasing. And then weapon sales. Going back to the days of the Soviet Union, it's all about selling weapons. They want to sell the S-300 air defense system, and they're using this most recent attack on their own aircraft as another pretext for wanting to do that.
And a quick comment from you on North Korea, as well as the president's at the United Nations. He's meeting with leaders of Japan, South Korea, other key players.
Well, I think the president's been criticized at times for not being multilateral. Let's take a look at our supposed partners, Russia and China. I mean, China has about 90% of North Korea's trade. They've never used that leverage to really force Kim Jong-un to denuclearize. Russia and China want to reduce, if not eliminate, the U.S. military presence in the region. We don't share the same strategic goals there. That's why this is such a challenging situation.
Well, a lot of discussion and meetings and side meetings, bilateral meetings and more happening at the UN. We'll see if they bear fruit. Dan, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.